Welcome back to another Pokemon Throwback Thursday, where every Thursday morning we take a deep dive into a vintage set. We're going to complete order. So the set we're checking out today is XY Fates Collide, and we're doing a new thing where every Throwback Thursday, the last half of the video, we cover a certain Pokemon and we look at their best cards in Pokemon history. So for today's video, which I'm sure you guys have already seen on the thumbnail, it is Mewtwo. Now Mewtwo, honestly, probably top 3 for some of the best cards in Pokemon history out of all the other Pokemon. He's kind of stacked. It's wild. But before we get started, we do have to give a big thanks to our video sponsor real quick, and that is Metatcg. I did all the research, and I found it's the best possible website for you guys to sell your bulk. I even reached out to them to sponsor my channel because I absolutely love their site. They are very fair with their pricing, and they make it so easy for you guys to send them your bulk. So you can trade in your Pokemon, Magic, or Yu-Gi-Oh bulk for some super rare Pokemon cards. They got Magic cards and Yu-Gi-Oh cards. They do all have to be near mint, but I mean, they even got a first edition Rockets Mewtwo, a Crystal Charizard, Delta Species, first edition Dark Dragonite, and they even have a little video showing you how to package everything too, so you know exactly what you're doing. You just got to type in exactly how many cards you have. It's that simple. So definitely check them out. I'll have all the links in the description. And also, if you're looking to grade for your very first time and you want to get a free graded card, you can click my link in the description and use the code BEARD25, and you'll get $25 off your very first submission. So definitely check that out. But all right, let's get into it. We got XY Fates Collide, came out May 2nd, 2016. 124 cards plus 1 secret rare. So when you think of Fates Collide, just think of Alakazam. Even the set symbol kind of looks like Alakazam, which is crazy when you really think about it. We do have some break cards in here. They got the best break card, the Lugia break card. So that is the big boy for all the break cards. It's still like 10, 15 bucks to be honest. But let's check out the big boys. We got a Glaceon full art, and these full arts blow our full arts out of the water nowadays, especially texture-wise. It's not even close. Then we got the full art Alakazam. We got the Mega Alakazam, and you can see the head right here. That's the set symbol that I'm talking about for Mega Alakazam. And then the full art Umbreon. So, I mean, there's some good cards in this set. Got a full art Genesect. Got the Mega Altaria. Really nice texture on there. Got the Kingdra EX full art. And the Altaria EX full art. And the Team Rocket's handiwork. I think this is one of the coolest Team Rocket trainer cards we've ever gotten. And we got the secret rare, the Alakazam EX. In my opinion, having Umbreon, Lugia, and Alakazam all in one card, that's one of the nastiest cards you can even make. I think it is so sick. And here's a hot take. I've always liked Alakazam way more than Gengar. I know their typing is different, but, you know, growing up and stuff, I always thought Alakazam was a lot cooler than Gengar. But people definitely disagree with that one. But you cannot tell me that this card is not sick, especially having Umbreon and Lugia in there. That's just crazy. And as you can guess, the Umbreon full art is actually the most expensive, right with the Alakazam EX secret rare. I still feel like these cards are pretty undervalued. I was telling everybody to buy these a year ago when they were all $20 to $50, and they all shot up now. But yeah, the Umbreon says raw 166, Alakazam raw 132, then the Mega Alakazam 95, and then it goes down to the Umbreon EX, just a basic EX for Umbreon, at $37. It is pretty cute. Then the full art Mega Altaria, full art Glaceon, full art Alakazam, they're all around, 25 to 30 bucks. But all right, let's take a deep dive into these prices and we'll get to the Mewtwo cards. So we got the Umbreon EX full art, last sold in a PSA 10, $2,150. And raw, you can get it for $86, but it's going to be, lightly played and stuff like that. And you get a grade 7 for around $110. Next, we have the secret rare Alakazam. We got a PSA 10 sale here at $1,876. Finally getting some love. And, raw says $88. Next, we got the Mega Alakazam EX. We got a PSA 10 here at $800. And it says ungraded $65. Next, we have the basic Umbreon EX sold for $725 in a 10. Ungraded, $30. Next, we have the Glaceon EX full art, $700 in a PSA 10. It was $450 before, that's quite the jump. And ungraded, $27. We got the Team Rocket's handiwork full art, last sold in a PSA 10, $400. So it did get up to $600 kind of during our Team Rocket hype. It was a $180, $200 card before that in a 10. And that's a $20 card raw. Next, we got the Lugia break card, last sold in a 10, $480. And again, it's like a $10 card. And then we have the Fates Collide booster pack, last sold $35, $40, $29, $35, $25. So not too expensive yet. And then we got the Fates Collide ETB with the Mega Alakazam on there with the purple. I think this is one of the coolest ETBs we've ever gotten. Last sold 819, 790, 971, 680. Yeah, some pretty crazy sales, especially, we got the mega hype going on too. But, Fates Collide is not known as like the best set in the X and Y era at all. So that's some pretty crazy prices for the ETB. And then we have the booster box. Last sold 1,500, but before that it was 28, 2240, and 2375. And this $1,500 one does say see pictures, so that definitely has some damage. So I'd say it's about like a $2,300, $2,400 booster box. All right, let's get into some Mewtwo cards. This is going to be epic because Mewtwo has so many cards. So here is all of his modern cards, the cards that pretty much all of you guys already know. We got our brand new Team Rockets Mewtwo. It's like a $500 card. Then we do have the Crown Zenith Galarian Gallery Mewtwo. And then we also have the Charizard V-Star that goes with that card. It's just the other view, so that's super cool. And then we have the Gold Team Rockets Mewtwo EX. I actually like this card because I like how he's kind of balled up. It reminds me of like when he's actually in the tube. Then we have the Pokemon Go Mewtwo V. Super underrated card. This was a $110 card on release. And then, it crashed and became a $20 card for the longest time. Now, market price $60. Then we have the Mewtwo V Union, market price $37. This is also cheap for a very long time. I thought that was so underrated. Then we have our Mewtwo Rainbow V-Star, which is the same art as the regular V-Star and the Gold V-Star. There's 3 different versions. And, the Rainbow's $35. Then we have the illustration for Mewtwo. I still think this is one of the best arts we've ever gotten, if not like the best art. Like, it's crazy, especially modern. Like, if you compare this Mewtwo to the Team Rockets Mewtwo and the Pokemon Go one, I think this Mewtwo is the best. Let me know down below which one you guys like better out of those 3 modern Mewtwo's. But if you really look at this thing, it is epic. And he just looks terrifying. If you looked up at night and you just seen Mewtwo floating there at like midnight, that's super scary. And ever since someone said this looks like Giovanni just has Mewtwo as a big like air balloon for a parade, it kind of bugs me a little bit. I will admit it got to me. I definitely still like the card, but I do notice that now. And then they even have the Prize Pack Series Mewtwo. We got the V-Star and the V. I actually really like this art on this basic V. I mean, just for being a basic card, I think it's pretty crazy. Not a fan of the new Mewtwo EX with the little crown on there. And then, of course, our reprint of base set. We've gotten that a couple times. XY Evolutions and, the Trading Card Game Classic. And then there's a ton of holos and stuff. He's gotten so many cards. Trick or Trade art, not too bad. The 151 art for just a basic is pretty crazy. So this would definitely be a pretty tough Pokemon to collect every single Mewtwo card. All right, let's get into some big boys. We're going to hop to Sun and Moon. We got the Rainbow Tag Team Mewtwo and Mew. Pop of 1,136 in a 10, 969 in a 9. Last sold in a 10, 627, 799. We got a PSA 9 at 299. And it did sell for 560 before that in a 10. So kind of all over the place. Raw, 285, 200, 275, 165, 319. This card used to be really cheap too when I started collecting all these tag teams. Next, we have the Mewtwo and Mew full art, same art, just not rainbow. And there's only 600 in a 10 and 686 in a 9. Last sold in a 9, 140, 157. And we got a PSA 10 at 689, raw at 140, another raw at 125. And then we have the promo Tag Team Alternate Art, the one where Mewtwo's super annoyed at Mew. And in honor of being Mewtwo, and especially this Mewtwo and Mew card, we have the question of the day. Which Pokemon do you guys like better, Mewtwo or Mew? Let me know down below, and please let me know why. This is a pretty high pop, 7,750 in a 10, 4,500 in a 9, and 1,000 in an 8. Last sold raw, 300, 250, 325, 184. We got a PSA 10 at 810. Another one at 770. This is a very expensive card right now. Next, we got the other Tag Team Mewtwo and Mew. This card does not have any texture. And I have done a Throwback Thursday video where we do cover a bunch of Mewtwo cards. We just didn't do it like with the official, where we check in the best cards throughout all Pokemon history. So this one's a little bit more of a deep dive. And what's cool about this card, in the background, you can see the Mewtwo screen here, which I'll show you guys in a second. But this card has 2,000 in a 10 and 1,600 in a 9. Last sold raw, 72, 60, 65. PSA 9 at 132, 175, and a 10 at 650. And we did have a 10 sale at 415 before that. 443, and 440. So we got that one new high sale. And next we have the Mewtwo GX alternate art. This is from Shining Legends, and they call this the Mewtwo card. This is one of the most popular Mewtwo cards in Pokemon history. But as you can see here, the screen in the back with Mewtwo on the head, if we go back and look at that card, you can see that exact screen right here. So that means Mewtwo was in this tube, and Mew came and broke him out, and then, you know, they're hanging out later, and Mew's annoying the heck out of Mewtwo. So I just think that's a super cool little story right there. You know, I love when cards kind of connect and tell little stories. But this Mewtwo, this thing has been going crazy. Last sold raw 550. We do have one at 142, which I'm guessing was completely destroyed. We got another one raw at 485, 435, 355, 425. We got a PSA 9 at 999. 950, 825, and a 10 at $4,300. And this card is tough to grade. There's 2,600 in a 10, 5,900 in a 9, 3,400 in a 8. So, I mean, this is just a perfect storm to have a crazy, crazy Grail chase card. Next, we have the Shiny Mewtwo GX full art from Hidden Fates. If you guys did not know, Shiny Mewtwo is green. Let me know down below if you guys like that. And also, let me know what other Pokemon you guys want to see for these Throwback Thursdays. So this card has a pop of 6,500 in a 10, 4,400 in a 9. Last sold raw 69. We got another one at 100. PSA 9 at 175. And then a 10 at 208, 187, and 192. So still very affordable. Next, same exact art, but the Rainbow Mewtwo GX. With a pop of only 1,064 in a 10, 1,361 in a 9. Last sold raw 25, 31, 22, 58. PSA 9 at 98.85 and a 10 at $247. Next, we have the Armored Mewtwo Black Star promo. Love this card. Look at this pop. 293 in a 10, when there's 1,746 in a 9, 1,350 in a 8, 644 in a 7, 488 in a 6, and 251 in a 5. So there's more 6s than there is 10s. Last sold raw 135, 31, 140, 200. And in a 10, we got a sale here at $3,975. Says it has 2 swirls. And then we got a 9 here at $630. So that's a crazy card. Next, we have the entire set of XY Breakthrough. This is basically the Mewtwo set. There is 10 super, super cool Mewtwo cards in this set. And they're basically the 10 most expensive cards. A couple Houndooms snuck in there, but there's a couple basic EXs. So this set is stacked. I invested heavily into this set. I have a bunch of these booster boxes and ETBs. So, of course, we got our secret rare cards, just like what we had earlier with the secret rare Alakazam for Fates Collide. They have those cards, but with Mewtwo. So this is number 163. There's a blue one and an orange one. Now, again, pretty tough to grade. 222 in a 10, 740 in a 9, 636 in an 8. These cards are off-centered a lot. Last sold raw 110, 110, 66, 40, 175. But that's why I feel like these cards are so undervalued. I mean, $110 card for like modern, that's your middle of the road alternate art. I mean, that's kind of a lower end alternate art dang near. And for a special illustration rare, you know, that'd be a little more upper tier for special illustration rares, but still $100 for a card that's getting pretty old, you know, super tough to grade, crazy texture, gold border, bunch of cool Pokemon on here. I just think they're so slept on. But yeah, prices, $100 raw, PSA 9, $265, and we did have a 10 sale here at $3,150. And then we will check out the other secret rare Mewtwo card. I like this orange one a little bit better. It's more neat. Again, tough to grade, 250 in a 10, 841 in a 9. Last sold raw 85, 75, 110, 150. We got a PSA 10 at $3,000. So definitely keep your eye out for these cards, especially if you can find a mint. They're worth a ton in a PSA 10. Next, we have the Full Art Mewtwo GX from Shining Legends. This is another card that's kind of tough to grade. 868 in a 10, 1500 in a 9. Last sold raw 18, 17. PSA 10 at 206 and a 9 at 36. We have the Black and White Next Destinies Full Art Mewtwo. It's going to be a little bit of a full art battle here for these next cards. This has a pop of 13 in a 10, 148 in a 9. Last sold raw 225, 200, 56, 100. And we got a 9 at 546. And we had no PSA 10 sales. Next, we have the Full Art Mewtwo from XY Evolutions. This card is nice, good texture, has a really nice gold border, has a pop of 2,900 in a 10 and 4,500 in a 9. Last sold raw 15, 35, 30, PSA 9 at 79, and a 10 at 340 and 281. Next, the Full Art Mewtwo EX Black Star promo. Again, very tough to grade, only 47 10s, 254 9s. Last sold raw 40, 70, 53, 102, and we got a PSA 9 here at $400, and we have no 10s for this one. Next, we have the Full Art Mewtwo EX Black Star promo, number 125 from the X and Y era. Very tough to grade, 47 in a 10, 254 in a 9. Last sold raw 40, 70, 53, 102, PSA 9 at 400, and we did have a 10 sale down here at $5,750 for a Full Art Mewtwo. Next, got a couple more of the basic ones, but this is a Mewtwo GX. I absolutely love the art. Looks like a crazy Mewtwo. 465 in a 10, 369 in a 9. Last sold raw 10, 26, PSA 9 at 50. And do we have any PSA 10 sales for this card? No. But I think it sells for like 160 or 170. Next, we have another Mewtwo GX. I really like these GXs a lot more than like our Vs and EXs because, I mean, it's dang near an illustration rare. I mean, that is just an awesome card for just being a basic GX. It says 1,000 in a 10, 1,100 in a 9. That sold raw $8, $10, $6. PSA 9 at 25, and we have a 10 at 140. Next, we have a basic Mewtwo EX. There's a handful of these basic Mewtwo EXs. We have no PSA 10 sales for this one. There's only 51 in a 10. And last sold raw, like $8 to $10. Yeah, like I said, there's a ton of them. Bunch of different poses, but just a bunch of these basic EXs where it's just the half art. And they're all like right around $10. Next, we have the Mewtwo Holo from Majestic Dawn. Kind of a cool card. Only 9 10s, which is crazy. Last sold raw 20, 29, 35. We got a PSA 9 at 199 and 306. And there is a reverse holo for this one too. Next, we have the Detective Pikachu Mewtwo. You know, where Mewtwo looks super realistic. Same with like that GX card. And this card only has 251 in a 10, 570 in a 9. Last sold raw $4, $5, 9 at 15. Very cheap. Next, we have the Mewtwo Black Star promo, Costco promo. I think this is one of the cooler ones. Like I said, there's a ton of Mewtwo cards. There's no way I could add every single Mewtwo card to this list. It'd be easily over an hour long. But there's a ton of these basic holos. I just thought this one was one of the cooler ones. But this is the number 75 Black Star promo. Last sold raw 19, 25, 18, 15. PSA 9 at 50 and a 10 at 271. Next, we have the Battle City Black and White Black Star promo. Pretty cool art. I mean, not going to lie, that thing is pretty sick. Mewtwo's fighting Kyurem here. Kind of different. Last sold $5 on eBay. And we even have the Mewtwo Spirit Link cards. We actually talk about Spirit Link cards in my last What If Wednesday. There's a handful of these, and they're super cool and all very affordable. I mean, these are $5, $6. So if you guys want to collect something a little bit different, there's a ton of these Spirit Link cards with super cool megas in all of them. Next, we have the Mewtwo Pokemon Rumble. Love these Rumble cards. Only 26 in a 10 and 122 in a 9. Last sold raw 189. PSA 9 at 699. Another one at 609. And do we have a PSA 10 sale at all? This card rarely pops up in a 10. We do have one, but this is from a long time ago at 676. It's worth way more than that now for sure. Next, we have the Mewtwo Delta Species. This is a reverse holo. You guys know I like the reverse holos better because it has a beautiful stamp on there. This is from EX Holo and Phantoms. Has a pop of 32 in a 10, 145 in a 9. Last sold raw 88, 65, 79, 55. We got a bunch of 9s here at $600, $660, and $500. And we do have a 10 at $830, but that was about 7 months ago. So that is definitely more expensive now too. Next, we have the Mewtwo Delta Species from EX Delta Species. They do also have a reverse holo with the stamp. This has a pop of 85 in a 10, 325 in a 9. Last sold raw 90, 100, 120, 56. PSA 9 at 505 and 442, and a 10 at $800, which was a couple months ago. Next, we have a couple level X's. We got the Black Star promo, DP28, only 6 in a 10. Last sold raw 45, 11, 21, 30, 40, And PSA 9 at $646. And we have the other Mewtwo level X from Legends Awaken. I like this one a lot more. Kind of a cleaner art. Again, only 18 in a 10 and 104 in a 9. Last sold raw 73, 49, 38, 136. And do we have any PSA 9 sales? We got one at 325, but that was 6 months ago. These are definitely very rare cards, and they don't sell very often at all. Next, we are getting to some crazy cards. We have the EX Team Rockets Mewtwo, pop of 84 in a 10, 298 in a 9. Last sold raw 2200, 1000, 1200, 600, 350, 1950. We got a PSA 9 at 2034 and 1925. And we do have a 10 here at $7,099 with no info. Another one here at 67, 74, and 66. Yeah, this card is nuts. Every card from EX Team Rocket Returns is insanely expensive. Next, we have the Mewtwo EX from Ruby and Sapphire. This is a pop of 74 and a 10, 463 and a 9. Last sold raw 68, 160, 132, 252. And we got a 9 at 710. And we got no recent PSA 10 sales for that card. Next, we have the Mewtwo Holo from Expedition. I love this Mewtwo. The pose is just epic. 62 in a 10, 371 in a 9. Last sold raw 212, 129, 350. We got a PSA 9 here at $1,099, 1,300, and a 10 at $7,600. Next, we have one of the Wizards of the Coast Black Star promo cards. This is number 12. This has a pop of 259 in a 10, 413 in a 9. Last sold raw 59, 65, 35. 35s for heavily played, so more like $50 to $70 for near mint, and that is not for that card. We got a PSA 9 here at $77, and we got a 10 here at $530. Now, I mean, there's so many mid-era modern cards for a PSA 10 that are $300, $400, $500, and you think this card's from the year 2000, Black Star promo, only 259 in a 10, probably will never reach over a pop of 300, and it's only $500. And I know $500 is a lot, but I mean, like I said, there's so many mid-era cards. Like I feel like Altaria EX is like $300, $400 in a PSA 10 or something like that. You know, I'd much rather have that card because it is history. Next, we have another Wizards of the Coast promo. This is from the movie. This is number 3. Last sold raw 11, 15, 30. We got a PSA 9 at 99. Another one at 100. We do have a 10 here at $446. Does look like it's the right card. Next, we have another Black Star promo, Wizards of the Coast promo. Yes, there's 3 different ones. This one has a pop of 315 in a 10, 859 in a 9. I never really liked this card a lot. I just thought the art was kind of weird. Wasn't my favorite. But last sold raw 20, 18, 7, 13, 15. We got a 10 at $486. Next, one of the most expensive cards on this list, and we have the Gold Star Mewtwo from Holden Phantoms. This card is insane. 127 in a 10, 290 in a 9. As you can see, he's got the green tail. This is a shiny card. Last sold raw 1250, 760, 1000. PSA 10 at $22,000. And we got a 9 at 77, 8500, 6300, another 10 at 22K. I mean, this card is just a grail. Next, we have the Shiny Mewtwo, another grail. This is the unlimited version. There is a first edition. So for the unlimited, there's 298 in a 10, 838 in a 9. Last sold raw 549, 421, 350. Then we got a 9 at $1,550 and a 10 at $4,850. Now here is the first edition. This has a pop of 235 in a 10, 366 in a 9. Last sold raw 1,800, 1,700. PSA 9 at $3,950, and then we have a 10 at $9,800, so basically double for the first edition card. Next, we have the Gym Challenge Rockets Mewtwo. This is the unlimited. There is a first edition. We're going to check both. This has a pop of 71 in a 10, 773 in a 9. Last sold raw 200, 91, 70, 150. PSA 9 at 449, and I don't know if we have a PSA 10 sale. We do, but it was a couple months ago here at $3,000. 2 months ago. Next, we have the first edition Rockets Mewtwo with a pop of 293 in a 10, 930 in a 9. Last sold raw 210, 385, 429. We got a 9 at 898 and a 10 at 3,550. Next, Now this is the same art as one of the Black Star promos from Wizards of the Coast, but this is the Legendary Collection set. And this is in the Fireworks Reverse Holo. So this is a pop of 53 and a 10, 295 and a 9. Last sold raw 260, 380, 500. PSA 9 at 1975, 1635. And I think we got a PSA 10 sale here. It was about 5 months ago. This card does not come up very often. And it was for $7,103. I'm sure it would sell for even more right now. And now we're getting to the original Mewtwo. This is base set. This is the Unlimited. If you guys did not know, there's multiple versions. So here's the Unlimited, here's the Shadowless, and here's the first edition Shadowless. The way you can tell is on the side here, there's a shadow for the Unlimited one. You can see it's kind of a black outline. But on the Shadowless one, there isn't. It's clean. Text is a little smaller. Also for Shadowless cards, see how it says 1995, 96, 98, 99. And then it says 1999 again down here. If you look at the Unlimited, it does not say that. It just goes 1995, 96, 98, and then it jumps to 1999. So that's a way you can tell, especially if you're looking for like Shadowless trainer cards where they don't have the shadow on there at all. For Unlimited and the Shadowless, that's how you can tell. So of course the Unlimited is the cheapest, and there is a base set too also, but we're not going to check that. But yeah, this card is so cheap. Last sold raw, $20 for lightly played. It's going to be like $30, maybe $35 for a nice clean one. Another lightly played near mint at 28, 12, 20, 9, 15, 31. And we got a PSA 9 at 186 and a 10 at 1725. Because these Unlimited base set cards are tough to grade still. There's only 594 in a 10, 4,667 in a 9, 6,000 in an 8, 4,500 in a 7, 4,000 in a 6, 3,000 in a 5, 1,200 in a 4. So it's kind of crazy. Next, we have the Shadowless cards. This has a pop of 75 in a 10, 647 in a 9. Last sold raw 21, 60, 58. We had a PSA 9 at 510. And do we have any PSA 10 sales? We got one. It was a few months ago in August. And that sold for $5,900 in a 10. Next, we have the first edition Shadowless base set, my favorite Mewtwo card for, these OG cards. And this has a pop of 82 in a 10, 561 in a 9. Last sold raw, 400 for heavily played. Otherwise, 547. And we got a PSA 9 at 6,000, another 9 at 3,900. We have a 10 at 17,995. So the Gold Star is worth a little more. And we got a couple other PSA sales here. We got a 7 at 1K, an 8 at 1,125, a 5 at 515, another 5 at 463. Now, honestly, you can find some pretty decent 5s where the front is really clean and they're perfect for a binder. So, a 5, 6, and 7 is a solid card to crack out of a slab and throw in your binder. Next, we have a bunch of Topps cards, of course. So this is the Techno, sold for 6K in a PSA 9. They also have the first movie cards. There's a ton of different Mewtwo cards, and they're all super, super cheap. But yeah, there's a ton of these Topps cards for Mewtwo, so definitely check that out if you guys are interested in those. Next, we're getting to some Japanese exclusives. We have another tag team. So this goes with the actual tag teams for our English side, where we got this as a full art and a rainbow. You can also get it as the gold on the Japanese side. Super cool, very affordable. Last sold in a 10, 320 bucks. 9s are like 250 and raw is like 125. Next, one of my favorite cards. I think these are called the Junior Rally cards. I'm trying to get all these in a PSA 10. If you connect them all, they make an insane picture. I'm about halfway there. Last sold raw 200, 149, 166. We got a 9 at 439 and a 10 at 1,205. When I started collecting these, Mewtwo was like $400 or $500. So they're going up in price. Next, their Mega cards do have the English word, which I feel like I kind of skipped over. We got to go back and check the Breakthrough, because Breakthrough has a bunch of Mega cards here. We got the full art Mega Mewtwo. If you guys did not know, Mewtwo is an X and a Y. So there's two different versions. Same thing with Charizard. But as you can see here, the English has a Japanese word on it, but the Japanese has the English word on it. So if you guys are really big fans of these cards, it looks so nice when you get the English and the Japanese version. And last sold raw for this card, 170, 199, 405. It says we have a 10 here at $310. That doesn't make any sense. But this card is super, super cool for sure. And I love having both of those. Next, we have a Battle Festa Pikachu in a PSA 10, sold for $1,600. As you can see, it has both different Mewtwo's here, X and Y. Very cool card. Next, we have one of the Pokemon card illustration contest. This is like the 4th grade one or something. As you can see, there's a super cool Mewtwo on here and a Mew. Couldn't even find any recent sales. These cards are so expensive. Next, we have a bunch of vending Mewtwo cards. So these are the 2 big ones here. We got kind of the more cartoony ones. This is Vending Series 3, and this is Vending Series 1, which is my favorite one. There is one more. Where did it go? I think I got to go to Ended Recently. Scroll for a second. Here it is. This one's pretty cool because it has like multiple Mewtwo's in the background, kind of like a shadow. But a lot of these cards, you know, if they're in decent condition, they're not that expensive. I mean, this card right here, the Vending Series 3 one in an 8 sold for $100. Next, we have the Japanese Secret Super Battle Finals Prize number 1, sold for $72,000 in a Beckett 7.5. But as you can see, there's a Mewtwo right here. That is super, super cool. And last on the list, we have a bunch of sealed products. You guys know Mewtwo has a ton of different things. My favorite thing is probably the Unified Minds Elite Trainer Box, which I have multiple of them behind me. And then probably the, you know, the actual tag team tin where it has the Mewtwo and Mew on there. That is just super crazy. And this tin used to be so cheap. Now last sold on TCG Player, $780. So those are definitely my 2 favorite Mewtwo products. We'll kind of check out some other ones. This one's pretty cool too. It has the Mega Mewtwo figure collection. You know, wish it had a better promo, but not too bad. And then we also have the XY Breakthrough ETBs. There is a Y and an X version. Those are also super cool, as you can see right here. You know, one's purple for the X, and another one is pink for the Y. I love those, but you can't beat the Unified Minds ETB box with the Mew and Mewtwo right on there. It's just crazy. They also have the Mewtwo Kanto Powers Collection box. That thing is stacked full of XY Evolution packs. I got a bunch of those. And the Mewtwo V Union box. This thing is super cool. Has Evolving Skies in there. I just wish it came with a few more packs, but I love it. And then, of course, the Shining Legends pin collection with Mewtwo. Again, wish it had a little bit of a cooler promo, but still not too bad of a box. And then, of course, our Destined Rival stuff. But all right, that was today's Pokemon Throwback Thursday. If you guys like this content, please make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell, leave a like and comment. If you guys want to support more, Instagram, TikTok, membership, you guys know what to do. But all right, I want you guys to have a great day. And if you guys want to watch my last Pokemon What If Wednesday, which was an epic one, click this video here. Otherwise, we'll see you next time.